And now, coming to you from the Pensado Media Center, powered by Westlake Pro.
He's on Rock's Mount Rushmore. One of the all-time great drummers is in the house. Classes open at the incredible Blackbird Academy. ITL from the Groove 3 Crates. DP, let's get it started. You're at the place, baby. It's Pensado's place.
I can mix that for you if you want me to.
Yeah, just use it as a sample on something.
Hey, thanks as always for dropping by today.
Ooh, I can tell it's important. You got a dress-up shirt on.
You know what? When we were in Boston, somebody left this in the hotel room, so I just took it.
Well, let's not tell our guests that. so you're disheveled and a thief.
Whoever it is, I need to get him to like lose a little weight.
Yeah, we got to tighten you up a little bit. But that's a good sign.
Oh wow, this is gonna be a fun day for me. I'm a big fan of our guest. But how you doing?
The same. Good. A fan. Just talked to one of our boys who hooked us up, which we'll share in a minute. Shall we get it going?
Let's do it.
Let's get it going. Welcome, friends and family. Time for our weekly therapy session. Like and subscribe. So appreciated. We thank you so much for that. Also appreciated our incredible partners, the Blackbird Academy, Westlake Pro, Avid, DTS, Lander, Recording Connection, Fab Factory, and Studio 202 DC.
Ron.
That's our boy, Ron, exactly. I didn't know where you were going, but that's good.
There's a shout out.
It was a shout out.
I'll explain to you what a shout out is later.
Cool. We've been sharing for a bit that April and July classes are open at the fabulous Blackbird Academy, and we say fabulous for a number of reasons. That includes both studio and live classes, accommodations for our VA brothers and sisters, and thanks you for your service, by the way. Equal accreditation and accommodation for our international family, and an awesome placement service at your service. That's the second-ranked school in audio. We call them fabulous because your learning is going to be incredible, the teachers are incredible, the facilities are incredible, and there are other great schools that we love as well, too, but this one we know intimately, and the results speak for themselves. How do you find out? Hit Karma at theblackbirdacademy.com. Tell her that Pensado sent you, both Pensado's place and Dave and I, right?
Exactly. And
congratulate her on being a newlywed. That's an important thing.
Karma.
We got a couple of contests coming your way in a week or so. Stay tuned. One from Indaba, and then we've got one from our new partners, IK Multimedia. It's going to be very cool. Okay, by the way, I got my iLouds.
They're amazing.
Oh, my God. I put them in the house.
They're amazing.
Stay tuned,
They
guys.
go down to like 50 cycles. You can do 808s on these speakers. They're a little larger than this.
And you're going to get a chance to win some of them. Not this week. Stay tuned. Let's introduce our guy. He can't have horseradish, jalapeno, or habanero, but he's one hook-throwing Hungarian. He goes by the name, and his mama calls him... Shaman Come on now, you do.
It's good to have the gore back, you know?
It is. Yeah, we had the chong, but we didn't have the gore.
I know, poor guy.
Again, this week you outdid yourself.
I did pretty well, right?
That was a good one.
Because he's with me so much, so I know he has to eat. He can't eat spicy food, so I turned that into an intro. Was that pretty?
What kind of disease you got to get where you can't eat sushi? There's like an environmental group just anti-chongor because he's like threatening the population of fish in the Asian Pacific realm.
They came out today. There's a salmon shortage in the LA County. that would be him. Rock legend?
Completely.
Unbelievable.
I can't wait for this one.
Bunch of questions?
Too many.
Okay, cool. Then we're not gonna delay.
You know what? Our audience has great questions. Have you ever noticed that?
They are. I have said this repeatedly that in all my years as a manager on the audio side, on the record side, which has been incredible. Once I came over the audio side, the level of intellect and brilliance throughout, from the pros to the enthusiasts, is just really amazing.
I agree.
It's really cool. You went into Groove 3 Crates for ITL this week, right?
I like this one. This is, if you do live drums, the room mics, I'm giving you some techniques for that.
Cool. Let's roll it.
Hey, guys. If you're like me, sometimes I don't have a clue what to do with room mics on live drums. I like what they add. I mess around with them, and somehow I get them to sound pretty good. This one I was really proud of, and I did something a little bit different we're using our Jill Scott song again. Here's the room mic soloed. Okay, and here's in the track. Now, here's in the track without what I did. It gives the groove a little bit of sauce, a little jalapenos, a little grease. You know what I'm saying? And I did something on this I had not done before. I started playing with ozone, and here's what I did. Here's without it. With it. Here's the equalizer I used. Nothing fancy. Taking out a little bit of 130. Excuse me. A little bit of 130 at a shelf. You know, cut off. A high pass. Excuse me. And then a little bit of 300. Boosted a little bit of 25 somewhere in there. A little bit of high shelf at 6. Now after the equalizer, we're using this transient shaper. With it. Subtle, but works. You could use the exciter, which I love on this plug-in. A little bit of compression. And just a little bit of limiting, nothing fancy there. But the accumulation of it, and by the way, the limiter on this is amazing. Everything Isotope makes is amazing. You knew that. And then just to get a little bit of old school vibe. Just a little bit of glue. Now this is your basic old Fairchild. That's not really a Fairchild, but I like what it does. It's a good plug-in. It does what I need without adding any color. It just does the Fairchild thing without color. So let's put it in the mix. Well, you'll notice right off the top, it adds a little bit of top end to my snare. It gives it a little bit of more of the snare has a tendency, the drummer is so good, it tends to have a lot of the sameness in it, in the attack. And this kind of makes the attack kind of give you a little bit of interest in the color, and then the little nuances that the drummer has in between the beats, those come through, and I think that's where his personality was. I wish I knew his name. Quick, sweet, easy, something you might not have thought to do, but I think you should experiment with. And then we could have also put this on an auxiliary track and used it in parallel, this whole stuff. And you can see I experimented with a lot of stuff, trying to figure out what worked. Pretty cool. And then I also experimented with some side chaining with a kick. That's what these two are, and that works pretty good too. Okay, next time.
DP, we were having a fanboy moment. We
I
have
know.
wanted this guy for a long time.
Long time.
When we started to do it
years.
earlier, it was our timing, and then we went on bended knee to our buddy Ross Hogarth.
Ross, yeah.
And here's the deal, guys. You know him as one of the top 100 drummers ever rocking. I mean, there's just so many accolades. It's incredible. What you don't know is that he's a businessman, he's an author, he's an educator, and yes, a bona fide drum god. Welcome to the place, our place, the one, the only, Kenny Aronoff.
Thank you. Nice to meet you, man.
Pleasure,
Awesome.
bro.
Nice to see you guys.
Kenny.
What What a pleasure. How do you just keep your feet on the ground? Just loving playing music?
Well, shit, my feet aren't on the ground right now. It's like when I started doing this author thing, and then I have a speaking presentation I do now. It's like I've added even more stuff to.
You're on tour more.
Yeah, it's like I'm dealing. I mean, I have from here I'll record 3 songs today. Then I have a meeting about a documentary, and I have 15 songs I have to chart out for Thursday and Friday, and then tomorrow I'm going to start my second book with a ghostwriter for 8 hours. Amazing. And I mean, I got to talk to somebody about playing with the. Well, I shouldn't say what I'm going to be talking about, but you know, and I'm booked until like May now. It's unbelievable. I have to hire an assistant.
You know what you guys have in common? You both come from strongly musical mothers.
That's true.
Guitar player, and your mom was a singer. Is that correct?
She was a piano player.
Piano player.
You know, yeah.
Yeah. So both of you were influences, because Dave talks about all the time.
Oh,
just coming up that way and being introduced to music.
Oh, yeah.
Allowed it to come through. What was your experience?
The biggest thing was that there was always, you know, jazz or classical on the turntable. There was always music, you know, coming out. They'd always take us to see, you know, either anything to do with music. They take us out to see, like, you know, like in the jazz world, it's like Modern Jazz Quartet, Buddy Rich Big Band, Charles Mingus, Stan Getz. Whoever, you know, Ray Charles. Amazing. In the classical world, the Boston Symphony Orchestra was 3 miles from my house. Wow. And so the music was, and my mom was always teaching us stuff on the piano. Yeah. But my big thing was when I saw the Beatles on TV, the Ed Sullivan Show. Life-changing. I mean, there was nothing to watch on TV, so we were always outside playing, and my mom yelled to come inside. And I thought I was in trouble, you know, you know. And I was only 11, and I saw the Beatles. I'd never seen anything like that. Yeah. So I said to my mom, literally, like, without even turning my head, Mom, I got to be in the Beatles. Call them up. Because, you know, she
didn't. Fast forward.
Yeah. So then, well, and then I asked for a drum set, and then she didn't call them up. So I started my own band, the Alley Cats, and played Beatles music, which was. If I look back now when I wrote my book, I didn't think about that back then. When I wrote the book, I went back and realized, wait a minute, that's an interesting characteristic trait where the door was closed and I just opened up another door. Well, if I can't do that, then I'm going to do that. Yeah. And that's the story about my life. Yeah. 50 years later, what you were saying, 50 years later, and I say dreams do come true. Yeah. I played with the 2 remaining Beatles, Paul McCartney and Ringo Starr, celebrating that evening on the Ed Sullivan Show, 50 years later. Only 4 of us saw them and ended up playing with them. One of them was Steve Lukather. Wow. And Don was. Wow. And Lenny Castro was the 4th. And when I speak, I say, look, dreams do come true, but they don't happen by accident. Right. I made my dream come true. I make my dreams come true. Because if I wasn't this workaholic, you know, self-disciplined guy that had great communication skills, be able to get along with people, as we talked about, to be able to, you know, fit in to different genres, to be able to execute a plan that you have come up with. A lot of people have ideas, but they don't know how to execute. And I can go on and on. I wouldn't have been relevant and happening 50 years later for to even get the call.
Well, you know, amazing what you're saying, and we're going to speak about your course because you're talking about some of the disciplines that are in your 7 steps that are amazing. One of the things about Dave, who is just as relevant as when we met 25, 30 years ago, and you being relevant, and our friends, the Rosses and the other folks who can CLAs, all those guys who continue to do their thing, some of the attributes are the same, which is focus, love of your craft, not letting one door stop you, being healthy. There's all kinds of conditions to it that make it happen. And then you guys who have outsized gifts, that allows those gifts to just continue to flourish. You also, the other thing too is you stay curious. Yeah. Like, don't you stay hungry? Yeah. Yeah. It's like we call it athleticism.
Oh, that's cool.
Like we want to keep winning. We tell kids all the time, these 2 old dudes will dunk on you. Like, so when you complain about working, know that I'm working, he's working, you're working, right? And it keeps going. Did that apply to as you realized you had a gift and you start to come through, right? And it starts to happen for you.
Yeah, I think the biggest...
Trace that journey a little bit.
The biggest thing was it was fun. You know, I was having fun. I was just a kid playing.
Rock and roll.
And people, hey, that's what they call a rock and roll band. You know, we'd play the set, we'd run out of songs, play it again. But when I was 18, or, you know, senior year in high school, and in my family, everyone went to college. That was the thing. That was the American dream.
Sure.
Go to college, study something, and then you get a job in the field that you studied.
Yes.
That's what my dad did. That's what I did. I got into... there was no school of rock back then, so I studied classical music. I did 5 years of classical music, 2 summers, one at Aspen School of Music run by Juilliard, and then at Tanglewood, which took 4 consecutive years of auditioning to get. That was, I was rejected the first year. This is the #1 student orchestra in the country, if not the world.
Wow.
Under the tutelage of the Boston Symphony Orchestra, and I worked with Leonard Bernstein as a conductor, Aaron Copland.
You're kidding.
No, the discipline I got from this school, I went to Indiana University, was the #1 school in classical music in the country, largest in the world, and they would wash you out. They were trying to wash you out to only produce the best musicians, and there was no hand-holding or entitlement there. You couldn't even get into that program. If you thought it was going to come easy, you'd never make it. So you had to, I worked 7 days a week, and I would be practicing Friday and Saturday nights till midnight. Then I'd go party. Wow. And when I eventually got into Tanglewood, that was I mean, I was working with all these great conductors, and then I got into the Jerusalem Symphony Orchestra. I was a made man at that point, and I turned it down to go back to what my passion was playing rock and roll and being in a band. I wanted to be in the Beatles. Fast forward 4 years later, I mean, I'm practicing 8 hours a day, studying in Boston with a drum set teacher, studying in New York with a drum set teacher. Moved to Indiana. Everybody said, you shouldn't do that. There's no music business there. But 3 years later, I met this Johnny Cougar guy.
Yeah.
And that's where I had executed my second plan in life. I'd reached a goal, which was to be in the Beatles, my Beatles. And so, and then the third goal was 8 years later, John quits the music business, and I did the same thing I did as a little kid. He said, I'm quitting for 3 years. I heard it, but then I heard it a different way than everybody else. He said, I quit. I freaked at first. I thought the glass was empty, woe is me, and now I realize the glass is always full, because had he not done that, I wouldn't have launched a session career.
Absolutely.
He forced me to play a different deck or a different card. Like, he said, I went, oh my God, I've been depending on this guy for income and everything, and I'd just gotten divorced. So I wasn't making the big money. I was an employee. I worked for the company.
Sure.
It was his company. I was getting a salary. I had 5 months of money saved, and I had just gotten divorced, and I went, all right, I've been working for one rock star, now I'm gonna go work with all the other ones.
Go back to the John Cougar days.
Yeah.
Jack and Diane, drum machine and drums?
Yeah.
Tell the story. Tell me.
Well, you know, back then, drum machines...
That song was absolutely funky.
Yeah. Well, thank you, man.
No question.
Well, here's the deal. Check this out. Song was off the record. No, we didn't know what to do with it. We didn't know how to arrange it.
Right.
It was a nice little ballad, little ditty about Jack and Diane. It was just this cute little thing with acoustic guitar. Now what? We were too young to arrange, and you know, just because you have an idea doesn't mean it's formulated and great yet and presentable.
Right.
So our skills weren't great, and John was furious that this song wasn't going to be on the record. Next door, the Bee Gees in Criteria in Florida, Miami. The Bee Gees, we kept hearing this drum machine sequence thing. One day, the producer comes in with this drum machine, and I went, get that thing away. Because back then, that was blasphemy.
Oh,
replace a drummer with a machine. So I grabbed it. Once again, Kenny saw this thing and then put a twist on and went, I'm going to take it and I'm going to program it. So the thing with the Lin 1 had 8 outputs, so you could bring it up and on the mixing board, and you could control each sound. So I did that, and I went back into the lounge and played pool. I'm like, God, drum machine's fucking replacing me. This sucks, man. And all of a sudden I hear them yell for me. Maybe 6 hours later, they want a drum solo. I'm like, On a ballad?
Huh?
Okay, now, let me just interject this. I didn't know what the purpose of a drummer was for music to get on the radio. Now, skip all the technical stuff. The real purpose of a drummer, and it's important to know what your purpose is in life so that you can feed everything down that channel to serve the purpose. The purpose, which nobody told me, there was no manual, no rule book, was to get the fucking song on the radio to be #1. Nobody told me that.
Right.
But when you understand that, that means every thought, every drum, every idea, every teamwork effort, everything is to serve that song to get it on the radio to be #1. So I should be, every decision I make, is this beat going to help get that song to be #1? Is this drum field going to help? I didn't know any of this stuff. I just was just trying to get on the record. So anyway, fast forward, so we get this big drum sound. Back then, drums were recorded in vocal booths. They decided to put this in the big room, so, and you guys will relate to this. So we had to learn how to get the close mics, the overheads, and the room mics to blend together, and then go through preamps and outboard gear to get this sound. Anybody can do that in 20 minutes now, but back then there was a new learning curve. We get the sound, and now it's time to play. Without going into all the details, I composed this piece, and I did serve the song, and it wasn't a drum solo per se, it was a musical idea on the drums that would be relative to the song to help it be significant. And I came up with the right parts on the spot with fear of being fired, because I had been fired from the first record because I didn't know what my purpose was. I didn't understand. I'd been playing fusion music and complicated music, and it was a different language playing with a singer-songwriter to get to his song, Johnny Cougar, on the radio. I didn't understand that language. Didn't matter I played with Bernstein. Didn't matter I won a concerto competition. Didn't matter that I'd done all these great things. This was a new chapter, a new language, a new venue.
Was it the break in the song? Or the...
Okay, what happened? The drum beat. So I decided I'm going to make an entrance. Boom, blam. And I stopped. And they all went, yeah! I was like, yeah, that's good, man. Okay, now what? So I thought, everybody goes down the toms. I'm going to go up. So I started copying, and now this is important. I started grabbing ideas from my own drum beat. So I thought, I'll go up the toms like, doosh, doosh, doo, which was the bass drum was going, or the tom-tom on the Lin one was like, doom, 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 doom. So I went, and did some other stuff. I remember being in the control room, they're all going, you should try this, you should try this, you should try this, you should try this, and I'm trying to dissect everybody, 9 people telling me what to do, realizing I have to come up with something or I'm gonna be replaced again. So I'm walking back to the drum set going, you got 35 feet, save your career. 20, what are you gonna play? And I'm like, I don't know, 10. 5, I'm like going, oh my God, I can still remember it. I'm turning around going, just sit down, you gotta do something. I went, bing, a light came off in my head, and I don't know, maybe it was my classical training or my studying. I thought, I'll play the same beat, but just play it an 8th note later. I don't know why I thought that, but maybe for my academic studying, I don't know. But anyway, so it goes, instead of going 1, 2, 3, 4, and blam, boosh, boosh, boom, I went 1, 2, 3, and blam, 1, It's just a little displaced and funkier.
Well, it makes it funkier.
And before, and yet everybody had heard that rhythm, just in a little bit of a different place. Before I could even finish, John had the talkback button down going, hit a cymbal. So he hit a cymbal, and then I went, you know what? I'm going to take a little rhythmic idea from Phil Collins. In the air tonight. And I went, but I ran out of drums, so I added an Aronoff thing, which was a triplet. 1, 2, 3, go. And then then they decided they wanted me to keep playing. I made this groove. And then it was Mick Ronson from Bowie, who was there, said, you should sing the chorus over that. I didn't even know that. It was John Mellencamp said it in my book. That's what it was. Mick that came up with, hey, mate, you should sing the the chorus over the drum break. So let it rock.
Yes.
So let it roll. Let the Bible belt come save your soul. All of a sudden, Kenny scored a touchdown. So the album goes to #1. The song goes to #1. But here's the best part. I was at the Chateau Marmont on Sunset when I got dumped from that first record. I'd only been in the band for 5 weeks.
Right.
And they had to make a record. I told everybody, making this record, I'm going to L.A. It's going to be at Cherokee on Fairfax. Yeah. And Steve Cropper was the one that actually was the one that dumped me. I didn't know that. I thought John did. But John was the one that told me Steve wanted to get his guys in, session guys, which I can relate to because I became that guy. Get the record done fast because they only had 8 weeks. Back then, they built records around the drum feel and sound because there wasn't so many opportunities to edit and Pro Tools. You had to be able to play from the beginning to the end, in time, with feel, all the right parts, all the right fills, all the right sounds. You had to be a bad mofo to be a drummer back then.
Well, that was when you had a question about memory. Go ahead.
Well, one of the things that I'm curious about is the classical world. When I think feel and groove, I don't think, oh, classical music. How did you juxtapose the transition from your education, which I support 1,000%, into feel and groove? Because they're not normally compatible things.
That's a huge question.
Your feel is like amazing.
Well, here's the deal.
I don't mean to cut you off, but was your education a hindrance at that point?
Well, in classical music, there's so much, it demands so much technique. You don't think about feel. You're so focused on making the right notes and the right rhythms and you're being thrown all this stuff and coming in at the right part. You're not thinking feel, but to be a great musician, feel, that's what separates the greats from not the greats, is that feel. Now, we all have feel. What a teacher is trying to get out of a student, or a good teacher, is to, no matter what you do, play from your own inner feel, that thing that makes every one of us unique. Now, I was born with a lot of personality and energy and dynamic, so when I play, you definitely feel my feel, because I run it right up into you, you know? And whether it's soft or loud, I'm known as more the loud guy, but I mean, I play the drums in a way that makes the drums have a full, big, powerful sound. And somebody asked me, I was telling you a while ago, I didn't finish it, but somebody asked me, how do you get that? You play a simple beat and get that sound, because up here, I'm envisioning what I want to hear, and I never get there, but I'm trying to. So I'm adjusting my hands and my legs. I've been doing this for 40 years to try to go after this emotional sound and energy, so I'm reaching for it all the time. And in the process, I'm making adjustments subconsciously to get that. And here's the heavy part. I hear now the space between the notes. So, so I need to hit that drum to reach that note to get that feel. Now, I want gluing on top the hi-hat, and I just want it to be like huge and three-dimensional. That's what I'm hearing in my head.
Can you do every week a Pensado's Place? Oh, serious. Like, I just don't need it. Like, I don't ever want to show stop.
Give her like just like 24 bars of the Mahavishnu Orchestra, like the 10.
The Dance of the Maya?
Yeah. Well, watch it. Every appendage on his body is playing a different timing.
I wish you all could be back here watching the feet working.
I know.
And by the way, we've had a casualty on the show. Our intern is a drummer from Columbia University running audio right now, and I heard him just fall over. He's so involved in there. Anyways, all right, Mahavishnu Orchestra.
All right, well, this is a funny story because somebody said in 1972 I was playing in orchestras, and somebody said there's this new thing called the Mahavishnu Orchestra. I think it's an orchestra. And I learned pretty quickly it's not. It's John McLaughlin with virtuoso guys like Billy Cobham on drums drums, and Jan Hammer on keyboards, Mike Laird on bass, and Jerry Goodman on violin. Anyway, John McLaughlin was very, very virtuosic, technical guitar player, but somehow he took his music and made it musical, no vocals. So I go to this concert, and he's doing a dedication to Sri Trimnoy, this meditation guru guy, and everyone's just play the music. So he starts off with these he's very modal. He studied a lot of, I don't know if it's Indian, but they're modals. It's not just normal scales. So he's got this, thing going. Then he goes into this thing. Okay, the premise of this song, Dance to the Maya, is he's playing in 10, and he's phrasing in like what would be called a duple or two-time, like 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and boom, 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 and he'd go 3, 4, 3 on top of that, which makes 10. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. She's doing that. So if you go in for every beat, boom, boom, is a subdivision. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Now, if you take that subdivision and phrase it in same equal value of notes, but you accent every 3. 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1. Boom, 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 boom. 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 3, 4, 2, 5, 2, 3, 6, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the groups of 3 plus a 2 equals 20. The 10 in groups of 2 equals 20. And you put the 2 together, so eventually, in this song, the band finally is playing boom, 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 boom. And I can't do it all, but it's crazy.
I am never confounded. I
got smoke coming out my ears.
I just want to watch. I don't even have anything else to say. Wow.
Well, I'm still blown away he composed that, but so they had played with feel on top of it.
Composing is one thing, but counting it's damn near impossible.
Oh yeah, I know, it's crazy.
But look, guys. Sometimes Dave and we get caught about being old school. This is artistry, man, and you don't get a chance to get to artistry like this as often. This is just
thanks.
So good.
Kenny, so if I was to start with a metronome that gave you the first 4 beats, how long would it take you to get more than 5% at a time?
No, when I hear those 4 beats, here's the rule of thumb now. Because Chuck Israels, this bass player, played with Bill Evans, great sax player. I actually played 2 nights with him at a club, which I was way beneath his abilities as a virtuosic upright jazz player, but I got the gig. He asked me to get the gig, I got the gig, and oh man. He counted off the first song. I'm in the barn that I grew up playing music. We start, he goes, 1, 2, 1. He goes, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. We come in, he stops, says, listen, when I count off, don't be looking outside at your dad mowing the lawn or looking at the painting on the wall or thinking of your girlfriend or thinking, I'm going, oh my God, he says, you gotta think time. He was so far up my ass, I was like, so now what I do, given what you said, if I heard 4 clicks, I'm going, I'm already playing, you'll see me on TV a lot. If someone starts, I'm playing, physically using my hand, so I just slide it over to the hi-hat, and then I'm listening to the hi-hat as my metronome.
So you keep time with the hi-hat.
I ask drummers a lot of times, like, what's the most important instrument? The snare, kick, toms, cymbals, when you're playing a beat. Most of the time they say kick or snare, which I did forever. But the hi-hat is the glue or the ride cymbal, the thing that's keeping time. So if you get this right, and you lock that up with a great rhythm guitar player, you're done. You just put your kick drum and snare drum right with this, and then you're done. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and I keep hearing that click that you played to me, and I keep hearing it. Dirt, 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 dirt. Lock my hand. Whatever you do. And if I do a fill, I keep listening. Dot, 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 dot. I'm always.
I'm gonna hurt him.
I can't flip over. I don't know what to do. Like, I feel like I should have paid to do our own show. Oh my! And here's what's crazy. When I grew up,
that's great.
The drum for me always spoke to me. You know, I played piano and all this stuff,
Yeah.
but the drum was just something.
Yeah.
There's something primal, but also instructive about the underpinning, the infrastructure of the music sits there.
Yeah, it
and
does.
Somebody really understands that. And so I've always, one day I had a chance in college to go get some monitors. I took a bus to Columbus, Ohio, because the monitors.
You from Columbus?
No, my uncle was. I'm from Kentucky. What you from? Oh, we got.
Well, I was in Indiana for 35 years.
We got stuff to talk about. I lived in Kentucky for years.
Where in Kentucky?
The armpit of America called Ashley, Kentucky.
What is it called?
It's called Ashley, Kentucky.
I never heard of it.
Exactly.
Was it near Louisville? Or?
No, it was the eastern part on the border of West Virginia and Ohio.
I got a great relationship
Dude, you
with
made it
HR.
out of there?
Oh, barely.
Dude, because that's some scary area.
Oh, listen, it was Cole and me, and I got out.
Dude,
But here's what's crazy is I went to Billy Cobham played a concert in Columbus, and the monitors that they used during the show were for sale at a stereo store, and I wanted to have the best. I took a bus to Columbus with my mother for 4 hours, saved up my money, bought those monitors home, brought them home, created this great sound system. Turned on the sound system and blew out the power in my neighborhood. And I was so proud of that. Wow. But it was just that the music and the drum and that kind of power spoke to me. So drummers have always had. Well, Cam, our guy, I followed him since high school just because. So, moving forward, because one, I'm gonna Joanne, don't kill me. Publicity people don't kill me. You got to come back.
Sure. Why would they kill you? They'd love to kill you.
Cool.
Because if they're working, that means I'm paying them.
That's right. Oh, no, that's it. So now you're working in this just rare air with all kinds of amazing musicians, both on tour and in studio.
Yeah.
Does your craft elevate depending on who you're playing with? Is there a different incentive that you have, or are you just Kenny
All the time. Someone asked me that question, like, do you practice differently or record differently? You play? I said, no.
Yeah.
It's all full on. It's always, it's like, I mean, unless I'm specifically doing my certain exercises, I don't have to do that. But I'm always trying to be in game. I'm always trying to be on the field. I'm always trying to be in performance. When I record, definitely, when that red light comes on, I'm like, whoa, this is forever.
Yeah.
And, but I have to say, when I did like 7 Kennedy Center honors, and you're playing with the President of the United States there, and a lot of dignitaries, and then, you know, a lot of Hollywood, and it's a 16-camera shoot, and there you go. Yeah. Great timing. A 16-camera shoot, you don't want to fuck up.
Absolutely.
And you're playing with Sting honoring McCartney, or you're playing with Springsteen honoring Sting, or and there's Tom Hanks out there, and it's or Led Zeppelin. I played with Lenny Kravitz playing Whole Lot of Love for Zeppelin right there. I mean, it just goes on, and you do not. Or I'm playing with Dave Grohl honoring The Who.
Wow.
You know, it's like you do not want to fuck up. And here's the thing. This is a big thing. First of all, you have to be able to read like a mofo.
Yeah.
You're writing everything out, and they're making changes 2 hours before the show. You only have a couple of days rehearsal.
Right.
I have the script of the show. I ask for it. I want to know who. Yeah. So I'm not just a drummer anymore. I'm gonna have to count off. I have to count off at the right time to the right person with the right tempo. And Sting comes up to me before the curtain opens and says, "Hey, mate, in that third verse, you know, maybe you should keep a little hi-hat time." I go to my music. Sting, hi-hat. Don't fuck up. you know, I write it in because something is going to go wrong something always goes wrong, or an artist might forget something. It's up to me to solve problems. I'm not just a drummer. They hire me because they know they can count on me to solve problems when they go down in a very critical situation like that. And I'm a team player.
Yes.
I am not the boss. Doesn't matter how many gold records or how many records I play. They know when Dave Grohl walks in, or Don Henley, who's playing drums, Kenny is. Oh, great. I like that guy, and he will make me feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Or anybody. Willie Nelson comes in. Hey, Kenny comes right up to me. Yeah. Or Lady Gaga or Bruno Mars, whoever it is. Right. They want to know who's in this band. And you have to be able to play so many styles of music. I mean, the first time I did it was The Who and then George Jones.
Wow.
And I was telling Dave Grohl, check this out. When I play with The Who, you'll see me bashing, you know, you can relate. On top of the beat, craziness, never the same thing. You know, whatever. It's crazy. It's Keith Moon. But with George Jones, the drummer's invisible.
Yeah.
The beater comes off the bass drum head, so it emphasizes the bass notes. So you're just hitting, just supporting, tucked underneath that bass, so you can hear the tonality of the bass. Hi-hat, no bashing. It's just keeping time for everybody. It's light, could be invisible. Snare drum, I always smack the rim, not for George Jones. I hit the center of the drum, and I had a wood drum up there, made it more, you know. And then where you place the beat, center, or if anything that snare drum a little behind to give it a little bit of relaxation.
Yeah.
And it's all, the drummer's just there blending in. Not like with Keith Moon where you're like a solo instrument. And you have to get your head in the right place. Literally, I think of myself as an actor in a movie. Every song is just a different movie or a different scene. Who am I? Once I figure out my purpose, I funnel right through that.